Alright, side kick. I love this kick because it's one of those techniques that if you get hit with a really good side kick, you stay hit. Like, you're gonna feel it for a week and those ribs just won't be the same. So it is a really devastating technique, but we want to make sure we're doing it the right way. So a lot of us that do kata, we have side kicks in there that we practice in ways that you might not want to actually do in kumite because it's just not going to be effective for that scenario. Now, like the side snap kick, this way here, it's great like when we're doing kata, and it's great for just popping them in the kneecaps. But if you like your sparring partners, I would suggest not doing that pretty much ever. But the side thrust kick is what we're talking about today. I love this kick and I've used it in hundreds of tournaments with a lot of success. So we're going to talk about how to improve your knee chamber, how to improve your kicking power, and in general, how we want to line up the kick to make it land. Alright, so jumping right into it, the idea that I was mentioning earlier, that there's a lot of different ways you can throw this kick. You can snap it out, you can pull it all the way back, you can lift it up in different angles. I'm going to show you a couple ways that I personally do it, and you'll see in different karate competitions or MMA. I know that Wonder Boy loves his side kicks and he's awesome at them. And so we'll kind of talk about some of the side kick knee chambers that I prefer and why. Alright, so jumping right into the knee chamber, I will do this one where it comes all the way back, especially for a counter side kick. Now this gives us more distance between the person and me, and it allows for this kick to really generate maximum power going out and stop that opponent as they come in. So it's going to almost look like the Heisman pose when we get this knee up here. But I want to try to tuck it across as far as I can, like I'm going to bring my knee to my other shoulder. And this is going to pretty much put your heel in between you and the person that's trying to hit you. So instead of coming forward and running into your shin, they're going to run into your heel. So that's going to be something that might deter them in the first place. Now another type of knee chamber that I do quite often, it almost looks like I'm going to do just a front kick off to the side. So I'm going to lift this knee up here like this. We call it a lofting side kick because it kind of floats there for just a second and then shoots into the target. Alright, so if I was facing this way, my knee is actually going to come up towards you, and then I'm going to turn over my hips and let it drive out there. Now the reason that this one is nice is that you get a different angle. So if I roll my knee back like this, my heel is going to go straight in and it's just going to be like an arrow going through them. If I lift it this way, I can catch from a slight angle this way here. Alright, now I mentioned, I believe in the last video, this is a really cool fine detail tip that can help you gain that distance advantage. And then when I throw this jab, since my shoulder's a little bit square, I can punch off from this angle that if you want another video on how to do angles and how to angle your techniques to get them in there a higher percentage of the time, drop a comment, let me know. I love that sort of stuff. So, but this is just one way, but I can lift this up and then let this fly in there, and it is a really versatile way to throw the side kick. All right, so going into how to improve it, just using some exercises and some workouts to strengthen our muscles in a certain way. All right, now the first one we're gonna do is using one of these big resistance loops. And if you don't have them, they're pretty cheap and they're really versatile. You can use them, if you connect them to something, you can use them for punches, general resistance training. You can put it on your waist and shoot forward. I just love these things so much. All right, now, one thing that we can do with this is that I can just stand on it with my non-kicking my leg, my base leg. Now my other foot is gonna go up as high as I can, and I'm gonna pull the remainder of it to my waist right here. All right, so I'm gonna put my foot on this, pull this here, and then try not to fall on my head as I push this out and pull it back. So these come in a lot of different thicknesses and resistance levels, so you can go as high as you want, but you may need something to balance on as you do this because we're really focusing on isolating those leg muscles. Alright, so again, I would put this on my foot, bring the other one up as high as I can, find my balance, put this on my hip, and I'm just gonna push this out and pull this back. So notice with this one, I was getting more of that like side knee chamber across my body here, because that's gonna isolate my quads and my glutes, which are gonna be extremely powerful when you're hitting them. Now another way that you can use this resistance band is if you connect it to something over on the side here. And what I'll do is I'll take the band and I'll just put it around my ankle with my toes pulled back, just like how you would throw your Sidekick. And I'm gonna put this out there so I have a good amount of resistance even when I'm starting out. So the band is pulling me already, and I'm gonna use just this block here so I don't have to worry about pulling and flying across the room, even though it's hilarious for you, not so much fun for me. So I'm gonna take my knee, I'm gonna pull this back, hold it for a second, and then kick back out. I'm gonna pull it back, hold it for a second, and kick back out. And this is a great isolation drill for your hip flexors, really pulling that knee up and in. So this will strengthen whether you're doing this kick this way or this way, but I like to train it off to the side so I can really get the full range of motion here. All right, now let's jump over and just use this block since I have it here, and this is more for positioning. All right, so if I was gonna be training this kick coming up from the side, so my knee is coming across, you can pretty much stand wherever you want on this block. Quite often if somebody's just starting out, I'll have it just in front of them so they can pick their heel up, kick out, pull back, and set down. You can put it at all sorts of heights and just work on keeping that knee high as you're kicking so you don't kick and drop your foot and wind up landing on their leg or having them catch your foot. So I'm gonna pull this up, boom, catch, and then come back down. And like I said, you can do this either with this sort of a knee chamber or this sort of a knee chamber where it kind of lofts up and fires out. Now we're just gonna move on to two last exercises using another resistance band and a kettlebell, and these are fantastic for working on the outside leg muscles, your abductors, and also your hip flexors, pulling this up again. All right, so what I have here, this is just one of the smaller resistance loops. If you don't have these and you might have the regular, the bigger bands that I was using earlier, you can do the same thing, you just have to get a little bit more creative. So I'm gonna put this around both feet, like this, and then I'm just going to lift with a straight leg, Sidekick position off to the side, hold it for a little bit, and then come back. So we're just working on the abductor muscles. So those are the muscles that are taking my leg away, like they're being abducted. And I'm gonna pull it back and just do it nice and slow and controlled. So we don't wanna bounce this technique because it's not really gonna do the justice that we need out of it. Now the last one I'm gonna show you is using this kettlebell. I think I've done a video on the basic version before where I put my foot in the inside and I lift this up and hold it for a second, trying to get my knee up above my belt. This is a great one for working on these hip flexors, especially this front muscle right here that's in charge of pulling this leg up all the way, as well as your lower abs. Now, something to keep in mind if you're using a kettlebell is that if you set down too fast, you can roll this and land on your foot and it really does not feel good. So just keep that in mind if you are using one of these. Go slow and make sure that if you're gonna fall that you toss the weight off before you land on it. Now what I've been doing lately is take one of these resistance loops, and it's best if it's a stronger one because otherwise the band will just stretch a bunch. What I want to do is loop it through just like this, and this makes it so that I can put this on my foot and lift the kettlebell, whoop, try not to lose your balance, off of the ground with the band. Now, you'll have to lift the kettlebell up nice and far, but the good thing is that it starts to bounce around. You can do the same thing if you want to work on like your punch stabilization here, because as this bounces, it's gonna make those muscles work in different ways. It's gonna make them adapt quite a bit. So try all these out, do them in sets. I usually do like sets of 10 or 20, and getting both legs on them nice and strong. And by the end of it, you might have legs like sensei sets, but keep training it, play around the Sidekick. Let me know if you have questions. I'd love to help out wherever I can. All right, guys, have an awesome time training it. Let me know what you think. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Peace. And these comes in, and I'm going to put this out there.